Yo, it's how ginseng makes beats for pretty, Lucy Bedroque, Ego Break, like those type of artists, Slayer even. I'll play the full beat and then I get into breaking it down and each sound and what went into it. So, as you can see, I went into Serum for all these sounds, and the first sound is the beat's detuned. All is pitched up 50 cents. I'll show how to detune afterwards. Um, the first sound though, I went into Serum and I grabbed this sound out this bank, this synth, and I just laid these chords down. Here, I'll play it. Jesus. So it's just these chords, and then it goes down and it repeats like that, and it has this like kind of catchy top line that plays, and that's the premise for like all of the chords that plays for that sound. This next sound, I went back into Serum and I grabbed this synth out of a Florency kit. And I just layered it right on top of it. And it sounds like this. And for these type of beats, you want to have like more higher pitched like synths and melodies that all go into the beat because it gives them texture and it like whenever you're adding your drums, like the distortion helps like with a lot of the high end melodies. I don't know how to really explain it, but you want like the higher sounding and more catchy synths and leads and stuff like that. That's why I went into Serum. I grabbed this lead, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I grabbed this lead and I just laid down this catchy melody. Really, really simple, just on top of the chords that kind of plays and it's catchy, obviously. And this sound, I grabbed another lead and laid this down. Again, just getting a catchy lead to lay something down that kind of, once you hear it, it like, resonates well with you. And then I grabbed this pluck, laid this down. I said it's adding more things on for texture and sounds like overall to help out with the main like overall aesthetic of the entire beat, if that makes sense. You just want to have a lot of those synths and leads and plucks that kind of sound more cuter and happier that just kind of lay out on top of everything. And then for the last sound, I grabbed another lead and I arpeggiated from the chords, and that's with Alt and A. You can arpeggiate anything. It'll bring this menu up. You can mess around with this stuff. And if you put it on leads and synth, usually it'll make a nice little melody. So I put it on that and then this is how it sounds. That's just something that I added to kind of play more, I guess I would say like as another lead, counter lead to the entire melody, but this is the entire melody together. Like I was saying, it keeps that overall like kind of has a certain bounce to it with how the chords are layered. Everything just is catchy and very like up tempo and happier. And then for the drums, I'll play all the drums by themselves and then I'll get into it. So obviously, majority of these sounds come from the Say So Says kit, just because I kind of like a lot of the sounds that I hear. But everything's fairly simple. The 808 is just, and then here it has this little change. But really, for the 808, I wanted it to play longer and then kind of have this little raise back up and then down. If that, I don't really know how to explain it. It just kind of sounded well and was catchy. And then I had it go back down some here. And then same thing at the end. I just added this little extra note to kind of have difference because I didn't want it to be the same the entire way through. The clap is fairly simple. And then just kind of more spammy hat or claps, I guess. Same with the hi-hats. Very like spammy, just because that's how, the ginseng beats usually are. And then I'll show what I did right here. So this would literally be the same as like um this. Like the entire hi-hats is just this. And then when I copied it over, I went here, I added two more, and I just kind of had them like creep back in because yeah, and it's just a little change right there. That's pretty much it. The snare, again, I just added a counter snare kind of like for the claps. Nothing like crazy. And then again, the open hat, nothing crazy. Just plays. And yeah, that's pretty much it with the whole beat. I had my own master preset, but honestly, for these type beats, or really any beats that you make, a good soft clipper and a limiter should do fine, as long as you're making sure everything is like the EQs are cut out. I do have delay on the fifth sound, which is oh, I had delay on this sound. You can kind of hear it, but it's a very, very slight delay. Turn the way all the way down, or not all the way down, but it's a very slight delay on it. Just like I said, that's one of those like background kind of noises, so you wanted to just have it like not really playing too much. And then for the 808, I EQ'd the sub a little bit up because I wanted the drums to get a little bit distorted. But yeah, like I explained, beats are really simple. You just have to like make sure everything's leveled, make sure everything's straight. You're using your catchy leads and synths and stuff like that, and don't overcook for like the ginseng type, stuff like that. Like there's some of their beats that are like ridiculously crazy, but really keeping stuff fairly simple like this just like lets everything come together well. You leave a lot of space for your artist and you just come out with a product that sounds like this. And then I guess I'll explain the arrangement. Like I was saying, since I had a lot of these leads, I didn't want this one playing at the same time as this one too many times. So, because they're kind of like more centralized sounds, where if they're playing, the melody's kind of like centralized around them, if that makes sense. But everything else, I kind of just have playing whenever, because they're the main sounds like to the entire melody. Everything just adds its own like kind of little thing to the melody whenever you're here entirely. And the drums just, your traditional ginseng type of drums, spammy hi-hats and spammy everything really. And then having your nice little 808. And that's obviously like this type pretty ego break, Lucy, those type of artists get on the Burger Squad or whatever they be calling them. So yeah, but like I said, like those beats are really simple. The arrangement, I have the main sounds playing the whole way through, and then I just kind of alternate with the plucks and the leads with however I felt like. And I had most of the drums playing the whole way through. I cut out the snare and the high or open hat right here. And the mix is obviously nothing crazy. You can have some textures on your sounds here and there for the certain ones, and then in Serum, like obviously, I have their own mix and effects that you can mess around, or whatever plugin you use if you like want to learn the sound design for that. Um, but yeah, it's fairly simple, nothing like ridiculous.